A suitcase washes ashore, revealing clothes, and a child's drawing clues to twin girls, vanished from a cruise ship. Will justice prevail? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to catch our latest thrilling mysteries. Thunder cracked like a whip across the black ocean, the Starlight Dream lurching through a storm as screams tore through the neon-lit pool deck, where Emma's world shattered in a single, gut-punching moment. Her 6-year-old twins, Lily and Rose, were gone. She'd been wrestling with a spilled cocktail, cursing under her breath as a clumsy waiter stammered apologies, her eyes off the girls for barely 10 seconds. But now their laughter was silenced, their towels crumpled in a heap, one tiny flip-flop floating in the pool's glowing water. Emma's pulse hammered, her voice a raw shriek as she shoved through the drunken crowd, calling their names, her hands clawing at strangers' shoulders, desperate for a glimpse of Lily's shy smile or Rose's bold wave. Daniel, her husband, sprinted from the bar, his shirt half untucked, his face a mask of terror as he roared. Lily rose, over the pulsing music, his voice swallowed by the wind. The deck was chaos, passengers stumbling, glasses shattering, crew members barking into radios, their faces pale with the dawning horror that 2 children had vanished on their watch. Emma's knees hit the wet deck as she clutched Rose's stuffed dolphin, its button eye dangling, her mind spiraling with images of her girls' hazel eyes, their braided pigtails bouncing as they'd begged to splash one last time. A woman, in a crimson dress, her face shadowed by a wide hat, grabbed Emma's arm, whispering urgently. I saw a man by the railing, tall, dark coat, watching them too long, before vanishing into the crowd. Daniel, wild-eyed, slammed his fist into a metal railing, blood streaking his knuckles, his rage a mirror to Emma's silent scream. The ship's captain, Hargrove, a grizzled man with a voice like gravel, bellowed for a lockdown, his orders crackling over the intercom as security fanned out, flashlights slicing through the storm's darkness. The pool deck, moments ago a paradise of laughter, was now a crime scene, its neon lights flickering like a dying pulse. A young crewman, barely 20, stammered that the pool area had no cameras, a corporate cost cut that made Emma want to scream until her lungs bled. Passengers whispered of kidnappings, of children swept overboard, curses on the ship. A grizzled off-duty cop named Torres, his badge tucked in his pocket, pushed through, demanding to know who'd seen the girls last. He zeroed in on a jittery bartender who'd served a man in a dark coat, the same man the woman in red had mentioned, but the bartender's eyes darted, his story vague. The search grew frantic. Crew tore through cabins, flipped lifeboats, checked every corner of the sprawling ship, but the twins' absence was a void swallowing hope. Emma stumbled to the railing, the ocean below a churning abyss, her fingers gripping Lily's hair tie, pink with a star charm, found snagged on a deck chair, its fragility mocking her. Daniel wrapped his arms around her, his body shaking, his voice a broken vow. We'll find them. I'll burn this ship down if I have to. The storm raged on, lightning illuminating a silhouette at the ship's edge, a tall figure, coat flapping, gone before Emma could blink. By dawn, the Starlight Dream docked in Nassau, its decks eerily silent, the twin sandals still by the pool, a cruel reminder of the night's failure. Emma clutched Rose Dolphin, its fur soaked with her tears, while Daniel stared at the horizon, his jaw set, his mind already hunting the man in the dark coat. Torres, scribbling notes, muttered about trafficking rings hitting cruise lines. His words, a knife in Emma's heart. The investigation launched, but the ship's logs were incomplete, the crew's stories inconsistent, and the woman in red was nowhere to be found. A single clue lingered: the hair tie, its star charm glinting in the morning light, a fragile thread tying Emma to her daughters. The sea stretched endless, hiding its secrets, but Emma's resolve hardened, her grief forging into something sharper, something ready to cut through the lies. The man in the coat, the missing cameras, The bartender's nervous glance. They were pieces of a puzzle she'd solve. No matter the cost, as the ship's horn wailed, signaling departure, Emma whispered to the wind, "I'm coming for you, girls." Her voice a vow to tear the world apart until Lily and Rose were back in her arms. The Nassau sun burned Emma's skin as she sat on the hotel balcony, staring at the ocean that had swallowed her daughter's laughter, her fingers tracing the pink hair tie with its star charm, now tucked in a plastic evidence bag, a relic of a life stolen 4 months ago. The Starlight Dream had sailed away, its crew dodging questions, its passengers scattering, leaving her and Daniel in a purgatory of grief, their marriage fraying under the weight of guilt and silence. Lily and Rose's faces haunted every corner on missing posters plastered across the Bahamas, on news ticker, in Emma's nightmares, where their tiny hands slipped from her grasp. The investigation had crumbled, the local police overwhelmed, their leads exhausted after chasing false tips, a grainy photo of 2 girls in Miami, a reported sighting in Jamaica. All dead ends. Daniel, once a steady engineer, now spent nights scouring online forums, chasing conspiracy theories about cruise ship cover-ups, his eyes bloodshot, his voice hoarse from shouting at detectives who'd stopped returning his calls. Emma, unable to face the empty bunk beds at home, had stayed in Nassau, renting a cramped room, her days spent retracing the port, questioning dockworkers, her nights clutching Rose's stuffed dolphin, its fur worn thin. The world moved on. But she was frozen, a ghost tethered to the last place her girls had been. That morning, a delivery arrived, a box of the twins' belongings, sent by the cruise line after cleaning their cabin, a callous gesture that made Emma's blood boil. She tore it open, spilling toys and clothes across the floor, her breath catching as she found Lily's backpack, its unicorn patch faded. Inside was a crumpled drawing, one she'd never seen, its edges torn, its colors vivid despite the creases. Lily, the Kieter twin, had sketched a pool deck under a stormy sky, 2 stick-figure girls holding hands, their braids unmistakable, but beside them loomed a man in a dark coat, his face a smudge, his hand outstretched, a red bird perched on his shoulder. Emma's heart raced, the image a jolt of dread and hope. Lily had seen something, someone, before they vanished. She clutched the drawing, in her mind replaying the woman in red's warning about the man by the railing, the bartender's nervous glance, pieces of a puzzle she couldn't yet solve. Daniel, back from another fruitless meeting with port authorities, froze when he saw the sketch, his voice a whisper. She was trying to tell us. They drove to the police station, the drawing trembling in Emma's hands, but the desk sergeant, a tired man named Knowles, Syhed, filing it as supplemental evidence, his tone dismissive, the case long buried under newer crimes. Emma's anger flared, her voice sharp as she demanded action, but Knowles shrugged, muttering about budget cuts and cold trails. As they left, defeated, a woman in a crisp blazer approached, her dark eyes sharp, her glinting. Detective Maria Alvarez, a transplant from Miami, known for cracking impossible cases. Maria had followed the twins' story, her gut telling her the cruise line's silence hid more than incompetence. She took the drawing, studying it with a frown, her fingers tracing the red bird, a detail too specific to ignore. "This isn't just a kid's doodle," she said, her voice low. "It's a witness statement." Maria's office became their war room, walls lined with maps, ship manifests, and blurry photos of the Starlight Dream's crew. She grilled Emma and Daniel, piecing together the night of the disappearance, her questions relentless. The woman in red, the man in the coat, the bartender's evasiveness. Maria's team dug into the cruise line's records, finding gaps, missing log entries, crew members who'd quit days after the incident, a maintenance report noting a disabled lifeboat near the pool deck. The bartender, a wiry man named Javier, was tracked to a dive bar in Freeport, but he bolted when Maria's partner flashed a badge, vanishing into the night. Emma, clinging to the drawing, felt a spark of purpose, her grief sharpening into resolve, but the public's attention had faded. Their tragedy old news. Online. Trolls accused her of negligence, their words cutting deeper than she'd admit. Daniel's obsession grew, his laptop glowing with grainy videos of the ship, his theories darker trafficking, organ trade. A crew conspiracy. Maria warned him to stay focused, her voice firm but kind, her own sleepless nights fueled by the twins' faces, their hazel eyes staring from case files. A lead emerged, a passenger, a bird watcher, recalled a man with a red parrot tattoo near the pool that night, a detail matching Lily's drawing. Maria's team traced the tattoo to a lowlife named Cruz, a deckhand who'd worked the Starlight Dream but vanished after the cruise. His last known address was a shack in Eleuthera, empty when police arrived, but inside they found a child's hair clip, blue with a butterfly. Not the twins, but close enough to send chills down Maria's spine. Emma, staring at the clip in an evidence bag, felt the world tilt, her daughter's fate tied to a man who'd slipped through their fingers. Maria vowed to hunt Cruz. Her jaw set, but the trail was cold, the ocean vast, and time was a thief. Emma returned to her room, the drawing taped to the wall, Lily's red bird staring back. A silent plea, she whispered to the empty air. I'm still looking. Girls. Her voice a vow to fight, even as hope flickered like a candle in the wind. Waves crashed against the jagged rocks of a Bahamas beach. The dawn sky, bleeding orange as a fisherman's shout, pierced the morning quiet, his weathered hands prying open a green suitcase half buried in the sand. Its surface battered, zipper rusted. As if the ocean had fought to keep its secrets, Emma stood frozen, summoned by a frantic call from Detective Maria Alvarez, her pulse thundering as she stared at the suitcase, its faded fabric, a beacon of dread and hope, laid out on a tarp under the glare of police floodlights. Daniel gripped her hand, his knuckles white, his eyes locked on the open case, where a pile of children's clothes, pink leggings, a unicorn t-shirt, a tiny blue jacket spilled out, each item a knife to their hearts. Unmistakably, Lily and Rose's, last seen on the Starlight Dream 10 months ago. Maria, her face grim, held up a plastic evidence bag containing a damp sketchbook, its pages warped but vivid, filled with Lily's drawings, stick-figure girls under stormy skies, a red bird circling, and, in one chilling image, a boat cutting through dark waves, two small figures huddled inside. Tucked inside the sketchbook was a scrap of paper, its ink smudged but legible, scrawled in a child's shaky hand, "We're still here." Emma's knees buckled, a sob tearing from her throat as she reached for the note, Maria's hand stopping her. Evidence protocols be damned. She needed to feel her daughter's words, their defiance against the void. Daniel's voice cracked. They're alive. They have to be. His desperation, a mirror to the crowd gathering beyond the police tape. Locals and tourists whispering, phones flashing, the suitcase already trending on social media as number Hope Suitcase. Maria barked orders, her team combing the beach for clues, divers scouring the shallows, but the ocean offered nothing, no tracks, no witnesses, only the suitcase, spat out like a taunt. Lab techs confirmed DNA on the clothes, matched the twins, the news hitting global headlines, reigniting the case that had faded into obscurity. Emma clutched the sketchbook's plastic bag, her fingers tracing Lily's red bird, its wings a symbol of her girl's resilience, while Maria's mind raced, connecting the note's handwriting to a trafficking case she'd chased years ago, a ring known for smuggling children across borders, their signature a cryptic message left to taunt authorities. The suitcase's origin was a mystery, its brand common, its serial number scratched off but a faint logo on the zipper, a stylized wave, matched a supplier for cruise ship gift shops, pointing back to the Starlight Dream. Maria's team stormed the cruise line's Nassau office, seizing records, interrogating staff, uncovering a hidden ledger listing special cargo shipments to Colombia, dates aligning with the twins' disappearance. Emma, refusing to stay sidelined, demanded to see the suitcase again. Her eyes catching a detail, the text missed a faint stain on the lining. Not blood, but ink, blue and swirling. Like a child's marker, she remembered Rose's habit of doodling on everything, her tiny hands always smudged with color, and insisted on a chemical analysis, her voice fierce, a mother's instinct overriding protocol. The ink matched a rare brand sold in South American markets. Narrowing the search to ports in Colombia and Venezuela, Maria's partner, a wiry agent named Ruiz, traced the suitcase's drift patterns, calculating it had been in the water for months, likely dumped from a smuggling vessel caught in a storm. A tip came through an anonymous call to a Bahamas hotline, a woman's voice, accented, claiming she'd seen two girls matching the twins' description on a fishing boat near Cartagena. Their guardian, a man with a red parrot tattoo, the same detail from Lily's drawing, linking back to Cruz, the deckhand who'd vanished. Maria's gut twisted, the pieces falling into place, but Cruz was a ghost, his trail cold, until a port worker in Nassau recognized his alias on a cargo manifest. Tied to a derelict warehouse in Eleuthera, the raid was swift, boots pounding through rusted doors, flashlights cutting through dust, but the warehouse was empty, save for a child's shoe, white with a star sticker. Not the twins, but close enough to send Emma's heart into freefall. Daniel, pacing the beach, punched a palm tree, blood dripping from his fist, his rage a volcano ready to erupt. Maria pulled Emma aside, her voice low. This suitcase isn't just evidence, it's a message. Someone wants us to find them, or they're playing a sick game. The media frenzy grew, reporters swarming Emma, shoving microphones in her face, their questions cruel had she failed her daughters, and was the note a hoax? She pushed through, her eyes on the suitcase, its green fabric, now a symbol, plastered across news feeds, a rallying cry for justice. Maria's team expanded, Interpol joining, tracking smuggling routes, but the ocean was vast, the trafficking ring slippery, its tentacles deep. Emma returned to her hotel, the sketchbook's images burned into her mind, Lily's red bird soaring over a boat, a clue to where her girls might be. She whispered to the empty room, I see you, babies. Her voice a vow to follow the suitcase's trail, no matter how dark the path. Maria, back at her desk, stared at the note. We're still here, its words, a fire in her chest, driving her to hunt the monsters who dared touch those girls. The humid air of Cartagena clung to Maria's skin like a second skin, the port city's pulse throbbing with diesel fumes, and shouted Spanish as she crouched behind a stack of rusted shipping containers, her Glock steady, eyes locked on a derelict warehouse where the trafficking ring's trail had led, its corrugated walls hiding secrets that could bring Lily and Rose home. 10 months after the twins' disappearance, the green suitcase's clues, Lily's sketchbook, the note, the ink stain had pointed here, to a smuggling hub on Colombia's coast, where Maria's team, bolstered by Interpol agents, prepared for a high-stakes infiltration, their radios crackling with coded updates. Emma, against Maria's orders, had followed, her face gaunt but fierce, her voice unyielding as she'd cornered Maria at the staging area, demanding to join, her hands clutching a photo of the twins, their hazel eyes a fire that refused to dim. They're my daughters. Shet hist, her grief a weapon, and Maria, against her better judgment, relented, assigning her to a safe vantage point with Ruiz, knowing a mother's resolve could be as dangerous as any bullet. Daniel stayed in Nassau, coordinating with media to keep the hashtag #HopeSuitcase trending, his voice hoarse on news channels, pleading for tips, his faith in Emma's mission unshaken. Maria's investigation had peeled back the trafficking ring's layers, exposing a network that moved children like cargo, their roots hidden in forged manifests, their handlers ghosts like Cruz, the deckhand with the red parrot tattoo. A decrypted email from the cruise line servers named a contact, El Cuervo, a smuggler linked to the warehouse, his alias tied to a red bird, echoing Lily's drawings. The plan was surgical infiltrate at dusk, disable gaz, search for evidence, and, if the twins were there, extract them. Maria stiem six agents. Faces grim under tactical gear moved like shadows, cutting through the port's chaos, dodging cranes and forklifts, their boots silent on oil-slicked concrete. Emma, binoculars trembling in her hands, watched from a nearby rooftop, her heart pounding as Maria's signal flashed. A single red flare in the twilight, the warehouse doors groaned open, revealing a maze of crates and flickering fluorescent lights, the air thick with mildew and fear. Maria's DM split, sweeping the perimeter, but a guard, his AK-47 slung low, spotted a glint of metal, his shout triggering chaos. Gunfire erupted, bullets pinging off steel, agents diving for cover, as Maria rolled behind a crate, her shot dropping the guard, his body crumpling. Emma, defying orders, slipped from the rooftop, her sneakers pounding the pavement, driven by a mother's instinct, her breath ragged as she neared the warehouse, Ruiz cursing as he chased her. Inside, Maria's team fought through a gauntlet, 2 more guards falling, their radios squawking for backup, the ring's muscle closing in. A locked door at the warehouse's rear yielded to a breaching charge, revealing a hidden room, its walls lined with files, laptops, and a map pinned with routes Bahamas to Colombia, Venezuela to Brazil. Maria's flashlight caught a child's drawing taped to a desk, 2 stick-figure girls under a red bird, Lily's style unmistakable, proof the twins had been here, or still were. Emma burst through the side entrance, her eyes wild, spotting the drawing, her voice a choked scream. They're close. I know it. Maria yanked her down as bullets tore through the wall. A second wave of guards, storming in, their numbers overwhelming. Ruiz dragged Emma to cover, his pistol blazing, but a stray round grazed his shoulder, blood soaking his sleeve. Maria's radio crackled a fishing boat, docked nearby, was fueling up. Its crew spotted loading crates. 1 man with a red parrot tattoo barking orders, cruise. Maria signaled a retreat, her team hauling evidence files. A laptop. The drawing as they fought their way out, smoke grenades cloaking their escape. Emma, clutching the drawing, refused to leave, her hands scraping at a locked crate, her nails bloody, until Maria pulled her back, promising, "We'll get him." The boat's engine roared, its silhouette vanishing into the night, crews slipping through their fingers again. Back at the safe house, Maria's team cracked the laptop, uncovering a ledger of deliveries. 1 entry dated a week ago, 2 packages, 6 years, to Amazonas. The twins, Emma, staring at the drawing, noticed a new detail, a faint sketch of a house with a slanted roof, vines crawling up its walls, a clue to where her girls might be. Maria's jaw tightened. Her mind racing. Amazonas meant jungle, remote, a trafficker's haven. The mission had cost them. Ruiz was sidelined, 2 agents injured, but the drawing and ledger were gold, narrowing the search to a region where El Cuervo operated. Emma, her hands bandaged, met Maria's Hase, her voice steel. "I'm going with you." Maria nodded, knowing the fight was far from over. The jungle waiting like a predator. The Hope Suitcase hashtag exploded online. The drawing shared millions of times, a global cry for the twins' return. But Maria knew the real battle was ahead, where bullets and bravery would face a darkness deeper than the sea. The Amazon's heartbeat thrummed through the dense jungle, a cacophony of insects and distant howls swallowing the hum of the helicopter as Maria's team descended toward a clearing, their faces taut under the flicker of headlamps. The coordinates from the Cartagena ledger burning in their minds. A remote house with a slanted roof, vines choking its walls, where Lily and Rose might still breathe. Maria gripped her rifle, her pulse steady despite the sweat stinging her eyes. Her team of 8 agents, veterans of narco raids, checking gear in silence, the weight of the mission heavier than the humidity. Emma, strapped in beside her, was a coiled spring, her hands clutching Lily's latest drawing from the warehouse, the house's jagged lines, a map to her daughters. Her eyes hollow but fierce. Her presence, a risk Maria had fought, but couldn't deny. A mother's love outweighing protocol. The chopper touched down 2 miles out, blades slicing the night, and the team moved fast, machetes hacking through undergrowth, their boots sinking in mud, every rustle a potential ambush. A local guide, a wiry man named Tiago, whispered of rumors a house where ghosts cried at night, guarded by men with guns, tied to El Cuervo, the trafficking kingpin whose redbird emblem haunted Lily's sketches. Maria's radio crackled with updates from a drone overhead, its thermal imaging spotting 4 armed guards patrolling the house, their heat signatures pacing like predators. Emma's breath hitched as the house emerged from the trees, its slanted roof sagging under vines, a single light glowing through a cracked window, the scene an eerie twin to Lily's drawing. Maria signaled the team to fan out, her whisper sharp, silent takedown. No mistakes. The first guard fell to a suppressed shot, his body slumping into ferns, but the second spotted a glint of metal, his shout cut short by an agent's knife, blood pooling black in the moonlight. The team breached the house, flashbangs bursting, glass shattering, the air thick with smoke and screams as 2 more guards fired wildly, their AK-47s chewing through walls. Maria dove behind a table, returning fire, her rounds precise, dropping one as an agent tackled the other, zip-tying his wrists. Emma, ordered to stay back, crept through the chaos, her heart pounding, her eyes scanning for her girls, her voice a choked whisper. Lily, Rose, I'm here. A locked door at the house's rear splintered under a battering ram, revealing a damp cellar, its air sour with mildew and fear. Maria's flashlight swept the room, landing on 2 small figures huddled in a corner, their faces gaunt, their braids matted, but their hazel eyes unmistakable. Lily and Rose, alive, clinging to each other, their bodies trembling. Emma's scream tore through the silence, her body lunging forward, collapsing over her daughters, her sobs a raw hymn of relief as she pulled them close, their tiny hands gripping her shirt, their voices hoarse but real. Mommy. Lily clutched a scrap of paper, another drawing of the red bird, its wings torn, a testament to their defiance. Rose, the bolder twin, whispered, "Venujut come," her words a blade through Emma's heart. Maria's team swept the cellar, finding chains bolted to the wall, a filthy maîtresse, and a cache of fake passports, evidence of the ring's scale, but no sign of El Cuervo or Cruz. A muffled thud echoed upstairs, a hidden trapdoor flung open, and boots pounding dirt. Maria sprinted after the sound, her team in tow, bursting into the jungle, where a figure in a dark coat, tall, wiry, a red parrot tattoo flashing on his neck, vaulted into a jeep, its engine roaring. Cruz. Maria fired, her shots grazing the vehicle, but it tore through the trees, vanishing into the night. El Cuervo's shadow escaping with him, the team secured the house, arresting 3 more traffickers, their faces blank, their silence bought by fear or money. Tiago, scanning the cellar, found a hidden compartment, more drawings, dozens, each a snapshot of the twins' ordeal boats, jungles, a man with a bird tattoo, their art a breadcrumb trail of survival. Emma, cradling her girls, refused to let go, their bodies frail but warm, their pulses a miracle against her skin. Maria's radio buzzed backup was inbound, medics ready, but the jungle was a maze, and Cruz's escape meant the fight wasn't over. The twins, malnourished but unbroken, were airlifted to a field hospital, Emma beside them, her hands stroking their hair, her voice singing a lullaby she hadn't dared hum in 10 months. Maria, back at the house, bagged the drawings, her jaw tight, knowing El Cuervo's network was still out there, its head unsevered. The raid had saved the twins, but the cost was high, an agent wounded, Cruz gone, and the mastermind free, his red bird, a taunt in the wind. Emma, watching her daughter's chests rise and fall, felt a flicker of peace. But her eyes burned with a new vow to hunt the man who'd stolen their light. No matter how long it took, Maria, staring at the jungle's edge, felt the same fire, her fingers tracing the torn wings of Lily's bird, a promise to end this, for the twins, for justice, for the ghosts still crying in the night. The coastal wind whipped through Fortaleza's narrow streets, carrying the tang of salt and diesel as Maria floored the unmarked sedan, her knuckles white on the wheel, tires screeching around a corner, her eyes locked on the black SUV ahead, its tinted windows hiding El Cuervo, the trafficking mastermind whose redbird emblem had haunted Lily and Rose's drawings for 10 months. Maria's radio crackled, her team's voices sharp, 2 cars trailing, a chopper inbound. Interpol's net tightening around the man who'd orchestrated the twins' nightmare, his safe house raided hours ago, its walls lined with ledgers and a single drawing, Lily's, showing a man in a dark coat by a lighthouse, a red bird on his shoulder. The chase had begun at dawn, a tip from a port worker placing El Cuervo in Fortaleza, his escape plan foiled when Maria's team stormed his hideout, seizing evidence but missing him by minutes, his SUV tearing out as agents fired, bullets pinging off its armor. Maria, fueled by sleepless nights and the twins' frail voices in Manaus, pushed the sedan to its limit, weaving through traffic, horns blaring. Her partner Ruiz, arm still bandaged from Cartagena, bracing in the passenger seat, his pistol ready. Emma, back in Manaus with Daniel and the twins, had handed Maria a new drawing before she left, Rose's bold lines depicting a lighthouse by cliffs, a boat docked below, and a detail the twins had whispered about a place El Cuervo bragged he'd flee to if cornered. Maria's gut had twisted. The drawing now taped to the dashboard, its jagged cliffs matching Fortaleza's coast, a child's art guiding a manhunt. The SUV swerved onto a coastal road, waves crashing below, the lighthouse looming ahead, its faded red stripes a beacon in the dusk. Maria's radio buzzed a roadblock was set, but El Cuervo's driver, likely Cruz, the tattooed deckhand, floored it, smashing through a barricade, wood splintering, sparks flying as Maria followed, her sedan fishtailing, Ruiz cursing as a tire blew, the car skidding but holding. The SUV veered toward the lighthouse, its tires kicking gravel, and Maria saw him, El Cuervo, lean and shadowed, leaping from the vehicle, a dark chote flapping, sprinting for a cliffside path, Cruz covering him, firing wildly, bullets chewing the sedan's hood. Maria dove out, rolling to cover behind a rock, her shots precise, grazing Cruz's leg, his scream echoing as he limped after his boss. Ruiz, blood seeping through his bandage, flanked left, cutting off Cruz, their fists colliding in a brutal grapple, Ruiz's elbow cracking Cruz's jaw, zip-tying him as he collapsed. The red parrot tattoo stark on his neck. Maria ran, her boots pounding the path, El Cuervo's silhouette darting through scrub, his coat snagging on thorns, his breath ragged, but his pace relentless. A predator cornered but not caught. The chopper roared overhead, its spotlight pinning him, but he dove into a cave mouth, its entrance hidden by vines. The twins' drawings flashing in Maria's mind, a cave by the sea, a red bird circling. She signaled the team to surround it, her flashlight cutting through the damp dark, stalactite dripping, her step silent as she tracked his trail's scuffed dirt. A dropped lighter, its engraving a red bird, proof she was close. El Cuervo's voice echoed, taunting. "You'll never end this, detective." His words laced with venom, but Maria pressed on, her Glock steady, the cave narrowing, her pulse a drumbeat, a shadow lunged, El Cuervo's knife glinting, slicing her arm, pain searing as she twisted, her knee slamming his wrist, the blade clattering, her fist connecting with his jaw, driving him to the ground. He laughed, blood on his teeth. "There are more like me," but Maria cuffed him, her voice ice. Not after today. The team swarmed, dragging him out, his dark coat torn, his face no longer a shadow but a man, lean and hollow-eyed, the monster who'd caged the twins. Back at the lighthouse, Maria's team secured Cruz, his limp body slung into a van, the ledger from the safe house detailing his role: smuggler, enforcer, El Cuervo's right hand. The twins' drawings, now in evidence bags, were the key in their details: lighthouse, cave, boat mapping, El Cuervo's impeder, exposing safe houses across Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, each raid freeing more children, the network crumbling. Emma, reached by sat phone, wept at the news, her voice shaking as she described Lily's latest drawing: a red bird caged, its wings still, a child's vision of justice. Maria, bandaging her arm, stared at the lighthouse, its beam cutting the night, the twins' art a light that had pierced the dark. El Cuervo's arrest hit global news, his face plastered across screens, but Maria knew his words lingered, others might rise. The fight unfinished, she clutched Lily's drawing, its red bird, now a symbol of victory. Not fear, her resolve steel as she boarded the chopper, the coast fading, her mind already on the twins, safe but scarred. Their courage, the true weapon that had brought a kingpin down. The soft hum of a Nassau morning filtered through the open window, where Emma sat on the porch of their new home, a modest bungalow surrounded by hibiscus, watching Lily and Rose chase each other across the grass, their laughter, a melody that had once seemed lost forever, their braids bouncing, their hazel eyes bright with life, no longer shadowed by the horrors of 10 months in captivity. A year had passed since the Amazon raid, since Emma's arms had wrapped around her daughters in that Manaus hospital, since Daniel's tears had soaked their hair, the family fractured, but now mending, stitch by painful stitch, through therapy, love, and time. The green suitcase, once a grim relic washed ashore, now sat in a Bahamas museum, its weathered fabric displayed beside Lily's drawings, a red bird soaring across a stormy sky, a testament to the twins' survival and a symbol that had rallied the world to fight trafficking, its glass case visited by thousands, each leaving notes of hope, prayers for other missing children. Emma's fingers traced a scar on her wrist, a mark from the jungle, a reminder of the fight to bring her girls home, but her heart swelled as Rose, bold as ever, cartwheeled across the lawn, shouting for Lily to join, the Kieta twin giggling, her sketchbook tucked under her arm, its pages now filled with sunlit fields, families, a red bird free of its cage. Daniel, his engineering tools spread on a table, built a birdhouse with the girls, his hands steady again, his smile no longer forced, the weight of guilt lifting as he watched their daughters thrive. Their resilience, a mirror to his own. Therapy had been their anchor. Dr. Lena's sessions coaxing the twins to voice their nightmares. Boats, chains, El Cuervo's shadow, but also their dreams. Rose wanting to be a pilot, Lily a painter. Their futures no longer stolen. Emma, too, had healed. Her nights once plagued by visions of the Starlight Dreams pool deck, now softer, filled with her daughter's laughter, though she still woke sometimes, checking their beds, her heart easing only when she felt their warmth. Maria, back in Miami, stood before a wall of case files, her arms scarred from the Fortaleza chase, her eyes tracing a photo of the twins, their smiles, a rare victory in a career of ghosts. El Cuervo's conviction a landmark, his network gutted by raids across 3 continents, dozens of children freed, their faces haunting her dreams but fueling her fight. The twins' drawings had been the key, their details lighthouses, caves, boats unraveling a trafficking empire, their testimony, given through art, sparing them the stand, their courage etched in every line. Maria visited Nassau monthly, for her bond with the family unbreakable, her last trip bringing a gift, a red bird pendant for each twin, Lily's worn proudly, Rose's tucked in a drawer, her boldness needing no symbol, The museum's curator, a kind woman named Clara, had turned the suitcase exhibit into a foundation funding rescues, training police, using the twins' story to change laws, their survival a ripple that saved others. Emma volunteered there, sharing their journey, her voice steady as she spoke of loss and redemption, her eyes meeting those of parents still searching, offering hope where she'd once had none. Daniel, Kieter, rebuilt their life, his engineering skills crafting a swing set, a tree house, spaces for the twins to be children again, his love, a silent vow to never let them slip away. The twins, now 7, Boriskars, Lily's soft stammer. Roses flinch at loud noises, but their bond was iron, their hands always linked, their laughter, a defiance of the dark. At school, they excelled, Lily's art winning a local contest, her painting of a green suitcase under a rainbow hung in the museum, Rose's stories of magic birds captivating her class, their teacher marveling at their spirit, Emma, watching them sleep, their faces peaceful, felt the weight of El Cuervo's trial lift, his life sentence, a justice that didn't erase the pain, but let them breathe. Maria, at the exhibit's anniversary, stood beside the suitcase, her speech brief but fierce, crediting the twins' drawings. Emma's resolve, the world's refusal to forget, her eyes meeting Emma's, a nod sealing their shared victory. The family joined her, Lily and Rose laying flowers by the case, their small hands steady, their voices whispering thanks to the sea that had returned their suitcase. Their hope, as the sun set, Emma held her daughters close, Daniel's arm around them, the horizon glowing, a promise of tomorrows, untainted by fear, the red bird in Lily's drawing no longer a shadow but a beacon, guiding them home, guiding them forward, their love a light no darkness could extinguish. From a cruise ship's mystery to a suitcase's clues, Lily and Rose's survival defeated a trafficking empire. Thank you for joining their journey. Like, share, and subscribe to catch our latest stories. Hit the bell so you don't miss a thrilling tale of hope and justice.